Hey there. You been on a roll lately, keeping up with all this molecule discovery stuff, huh? It's like you're trying to find the next big thing before anyone else. Well, buckle up. This deep dive is going to make that search a whole lot easier.
It's a game changer, even for, someone like me who's been at this for a while.
I hear you. Okay, so let's get into it. The paper we're looking at today. The title alone is like something out of sci-fi. Illuminating elite patches of chemical space.
Catchy, right?
Totally. And it's not just the title that's interesting. We're talking Edge article in Chemical Science by, get this, Jonas Verhellen and Jarek van den Nabil.
Oh, yeah. You know it's going to be good when you see those names.
Right. So I get it. You're busy. You don't have time to read every groundbreaking paper that comes out. That's why we're here to, distill it all down, give you the aha moments, the stuff that really makes you think.
Exactly. We cut through the noise and go straight for the good stuff.
And trust me, this paper, it's packed with good stuff. But before we get to all that, it's like this. Imagine trying to find, I don't know, a perfect seashell, but on a beach that goes on forever. That's kind of what finding a valuable molecule is like.
Such a good analogy, seriously,
Yeah.
because in chemistry, there's this thing, we call it chemical space. It's basically every molecule that could exist. And let me tell you, it's a ridiculously huge number of possibilities.
I'll bet.
Like, we're talking 10 to the power of 60 possible molecules. That's more than all the grains of sand on Earth, by a lot.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of seashells. So how do researchers even begin to narrow it down? How do they even know where to start?
Well, there's a couple of ways. For a long time, we've been using machine learning, and then there's the old, reliable genetic algorithms.
Okay, so let me guess. Machine learning, that's like having some kind of super-powered metal detector.
Correct.
What about the genetic algorithms? Is that like training a bunch of dogs to sniff out the best seashells?
Haha. You're on the right track. Machine learning really has been a game changer. Basically, we feed a computer a ton of data on different molecules, all their properties, and it learns from that. Then it can spot patterns and start predicting which new molecules might be worth a closer look.
Slick. So what's the catch? There's always a catch.
Well, it's like this. Machine learning, it's great at spotting trends, but sometimes it misses the finer points of, actual chemistry. It's like trying to bake a cake just by looking at the recipe. You need to actually taste it.
I see. So you need to test it out in the real world to see how it actually behaves.
Exactly. And that's where these genetic algorithms come in. They've been around for a while.
Yeah, you mentioned those earlier. Actually, I'm a little fuzzy on how those work. Maybe a quick refresh.
Sure thing. So remember those seashell hunting dogs we were talking about? Imagine you want to breed them to be even better at finding those rare shells.
Okay, I'm with you.
So you'd start with a bunch of dogs, some better at it than others, right? And you'd, let the best ones have puppies, hoping those puppies inherit the good genes, the shell-sniffing skills. That's kind of how a genetic algorithm works, but with molecules. You start with, let's say, a bunch of molecules, let the best-performing ones breed and mutate, and then over time, over generations, you hopefully end up with some really impressive molecules.
So survival of the fittest, but in the world of chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I'm guessing there's a downside, though, right? It's got to be some kind of trade-off.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is. Sometimes these traditional genetic algorithms, they get kind of stuck. Yeah, it's like your dog breeding program, right? What if, by chance, you end up with a bunch of dogs that are really good at finding one specific type of shell, a really common one? They're the best at that. But it means they're never going to find those super rare, super valuable shells that are hidden somewhere else.
So they're limited by their own success.
Exactly. It's a problem we call getting stuck in a local optima.
Local optima. Okay. I'm writing that down. And this, I'm assuming, is where GB-EPI comes in. This is the big reveal.
You got it. What's so cool about GB-EPI is that it tackles these limitations head on.
Okay, I'm all ears.
And it does it with, get this, 3 key innovations. 3.
3 innovations, all right. You got my attention. Tell me more.
First, GB-EPI. It embraces diversity. So instead of putting all its energy into finding that single best molecule, it looks for a bunch of high-performing molecules, each with its own, strengths.
So instead of the one best molecule, it's more like creating a team of specialists.
Yeah, like a dream team of molecules. And
Right.
that diversity is key. It helps GB-EPI avoid getting trapped in those local optima situations.
Love it. Dream team of molecules. Okay, what's innovation number 2?
Right, so the second innovation has to do with how GB-EPI actually does its searching. It changes the way it handles mutation and crossover.
Wait, hold on. Remind me again, real quick, what were those two things? Mutation and what was it?
Crossover.
Right, crossover.
Okay, so remember the dog breeding program? Crossover, that's like combining, traits from two different parent dogs. You're hoping to get a puppy with the best of both worlds.
Makes sense.
Mutation, that's like a random genetic quirk, something totally new, totally unexpected that just pops up.
Okay, I'm with you.
So, traditional genetic algorithms, they usually do these two things, mutation and crossover together,
Mm-hmm.
but GB-EPI separates them, decouples them.
Interesting. So it's like, instead of a perfectly choreographed dance, it's more like GB-EPI is freestyling.
Exactly. And that actually makes a huge difference. This decoupling, it gives GB-EPI a lot more control, makes the whole searching process way more efficient.
So that's faster.
Way faster. And it can explore more options, more possibilities without getting bogged down.
Okay, that's two innovations down.
Mm-hmm.
We've got diversity, we've got decoupling. What's the third act in this molecular magic show?
All right, so the third one, this is where it gets really interesting. It's called positional analog scanning.
Positional analog scanning. Okay, sounds impressive. Lay it on me.
Okay, so imagine you have this really promising molecule, right? And you want to see if maybe tweaking it just a little bit, like switching out one atom for a different one, might make it even better.
So kind of like fine-tuning an engine, right?
Yeah, got it. That's basically what positional analog scanning does. GB-EPI takes that good molecule and just methodically explores all these tiny variations. It maps out how each tweak changes the molecule's properties.
It's like having a map, not just of the beach, but of every grain of sand and how it affects all the other grains of sand around it.
Yes, exactly. And here's the best part. GB-EPI. It remembers all those variations and what happened, what worked, what didn't work, so it doesn't waste time going down the same dead ends.
Smart. Okay, so it sounds incredible in theory, but does it actually work? Did the researchers, put it to the test?
Oh, yeah, they did. They tested GB-EPI against some other top algorithms using this thing called guacamole.
Guacamole. What is that? Some kind of spicy molecule competition?
Haha. It's kind of like that. It's basically a set of benchmarks, like a molecular Olympics.
Okay, I like it. So how did GB-EPI do? Did it take home the gold?
It crushed it. For one of the challenges, they had to rediscover an existing drug, troglydzone, and GB-EPI. It found it way faster than traditional methods, like 41% fewer steps.
Wow, that's significant. Okay, so it's efficient, it's a beast. But, I keep coming back to this idea of understanding. Like earlier you said that wasn't always the case with these algorithms, right?
That's right. With a lot of algorithms, you might get a solution, a good molecule, but you don't necessarily understand why it works. You just know it does. And that makes it a lot harder to design new, even better molecules in the future.
So how is GB-EPI different?
Well, remember how we talked about GB-EPI creating a map, like a detailed map of chemical space? It's not just about finding a solution, it's about understanding the landscape itself.
It's like you don't just see the winning lottery ticket, you see the whole pattern of winning numbers, right?
Yeah, exactly. You see the trends, you see the connections. It's like instead of stumbling around in the dark, someone hands you a flashlight.
Or like night vision goggles. Suddenly you can see everything.
Right, and think about what that means. Imagine designing drugs that are way more effective, but with fewer side effects. Or, I don't know, discovering new materials. Materials with properties we haven't even, dreamt of yet.
It's like the difference between having a hand-drawn treasure map and having, a GPS that updates in real time.
Exactly, and GB-EPI, it's not just limited to one specific thing. You can use it to look for all kinds of different properties.
So it's like a Swiss Army knife, but for molecules.
Haha, yes. That's a good way to put it. You need a molecule that's really good at binding to a specific protein. GB-EPI can help you find it. Need a material that's, I don't know, super strong and super lightweight. GB-EPI can point you in the right direction.
It's like we're entering this whole new era of scientific discovery. Less trial and error, more like precision.
Totally. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, the authors of this paper, they only briefly touch on the future of GB-EPI, but you can tell. This thing has the potential to completely change, not just chemistry, but a bunch of different fields.
It's like we've opened this door, and on the other side is like a whole universe of possibilities.
And that's what's so great about this field, right? You're always pushing the boundaries, always learning new things. And with tools like GB-EPI, well, the future's looking pretty bright.
It really does. This GB-EPI algorithm, it's a game changer for sure. Completely new way to explore that vast chemical space we talked about. So for all you listeners out there, I'll leave you with this. If you had the power of GB-EPI at your fingertips, what would you do with it? What mysteries would you unlock? Keep those brains buzzing because the